Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sightless Voices, Unleashing Potential. I am your hostie with the mostie, Jennifer Parrish, and I'm so excited about today's conversation. This is going to be so cool. Joining us today is Mr. Patrick, or Pat Glines. He's the CEO of Guide Dogs of Texas and a guide dog mobility instructor with over 30 years of experience in the field, which is crazy. Pat's journey has taken him not only across the United States, but also to other countries where he has helped shape and elevate guide dog programs around the world. So that's super awesome. Today, he leads efforts at Guide Dogs of Texas, and he's focusing on improving training quality and ensuring that every client's needs are met with precision and care. So let's get into it. But before we do, we are going to describe our set for our blind and low vision listeners and for all of our listeners. We are seated in blue chairs with wooden tables next to us. Behind us is a white brick wall lit with blue lights and a neon lighthouse sign. So, yay, let's get into it. So, Pat, thank you for coming. You're awesome. I've just met you for 5 minutes, and I'm like, this guy's cool. So
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes,
and yes, for those who are blind or have low vision, I am devastatingly handsome. Long flowing hair that's not thin or gray at all.
Pat got jokes. Pat got jokes. All right. Could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and then what drew you to the world of guide dogs?
Sure. I graduated college and had an illustrious banking career that was not speaking to me at all. And a friend of mine who had been a friend since high school ended up losing his vision. So I was with him through that journey, and after he received all of his O&M and living skills training, he decided he was going to get a guide dog. And while he was training with this dog, I remember going to visit him and just being a little bit overwhelmed at the environment. Like, it's helping people with disabilities, it's working with animals, it's teaching, and those are all things that I was really passionate about. So when he had his graduation, I snagged an application packet. And 30 years later, here I am.
Wow.
And I'm very proud to say that Jay and I are still incredibly good friends.
That's awesome.
I don't know, 6-7 years ago now, maybe, I actually officiated his wedding. So.
Yay!
Yeah. So
that's very cool.
It's still a wonderful friendship. And one of my favorite parts of that story is after that first dog, 7-8 years later, he came to get a second guide dog.
Nice.
And he ended up getting a dog that I had trained. So that was my little full circle moment. You know, he got me into my future career, and I got to thank him with his second guide dog.
Oh my gosh, that is very cool. Yeah. And so you're an O&M instructor, right?
I am.
That's awesome. So how did that shape your approach to this?
So I kind of reverse engineered it, I think. I never do things really normal. So I started in the guide dog world, and after being a GDMI for a number of years, the organization I was with had a really wonderful opportunity where they would send us to O&M. So there were 2 spots open, and 3 of us made compelling enough arguments that the school was kind enough to send all of us. So 3 of us went together and got our O&M degrees, and it's just really to help us be the best client services people that we could be, right? So understanding as wholly as possible what O&M looks like, how it dovetails into the guide dog work, how the cane and the dog really complement each other.
Absolutely.
So it was a really good way to complement and continue to uplift our knowledge.
Awesome. I do notice that, there's some guide dog users that they're like, okay, I'm leaving homeboy at home tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so obviously there does need to be some cane training involved as well.
Yeah.
And so that's a thing.
Yeah, one of our biggest prerequisites is that you don't have to love the cane, but you need to have a proficiency with it because you're making the decisions, you're driving.
Yeah.
So, and even when somebody has a guide dog, I always encourage to keep your cane skills up because you never know when you got to leave homeboy home or if your dog gets sick or, the worst thing about dogs is that they don't live long enough.
Yeah.
So if you're in between dogs, it's really important to keep those cane skills up.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about sickness because, I mean, if dude is sick, like you got to still go where you got to go.
You got to go, and they're not making good decisions if they're not feeling so good.
Yeah, absolutely not. All right. Well, so you've kind of been global. You've been to New Zealand. I'm hearing, and Chile and Australia. So so what took you worldwide, and what were some of the notable moments of your global work?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was in Oregon for the first 20 years of my career.
Yay!
And beautiful countryside.
Yeah, so my brother lives in Portland, and he always sees the guide dog, people training on the streets.
Yeah.
And so shout out to my brother Matt. Hi, Matt.
Yeah.
But yes, so that's cool.
Yeah, so I was one of those. Took a management opportunity in New York, was there for a while, and then an organization in Australia called and said, "Hey, we're looking for somebody with your skill set." So I thought, why not? It's a big, beautiful world, and let's go check it out. So I've been incredibly lucky to be able to travel to the places that you mentioned, and I've done contract work elsewhere as well through Asia, and done a fair bit of work with a school in South Korea.
Wow.
Yeah, I've just been super, super blessed to be able to do what I do and to help organizations around the world.
It's awesome. Were there, so going to all these places, I'm sure there are, some stuff, different cultures, stuff like that. Yeah. So were there any challenges or learning experiences you had working with guide dog programs internationally?
Yeah, good question. The first thing in Australia, they drive on the other side of the road.
Weird.
So, had to get used to that both as an O&M and as a driver.
Right.
So I now still look 8 directions before I cross.
Yeah.
But I think that was really a big change for me. And if I'm honest, my ego needed a little bit of a check there because I came in and I know what I'm doing and I know how to do it. And working with an organization that really did things differently. And I needed to learn and understand that different is not bad.
No.
So I really had to learn, okay, is this different same? Is this different better? Is this different and I think I can elevate it? But really learning to embrace, there's 100 ways to get to the destination that you're going to. And the one I know isn't always the best one, or if it works for me, it doesn't work for you. So use that as an opportunity to really learn like how to do what we need to do, how to accomplish what we need to do differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about crossing the road with traffic on the other side.
It's crazy. And the cars are quieter. Oh boy.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's that. All right. So let's kind of get into, because a lot of us know, but, maybe people don't really know. So what guide dogs actually do. So how do guide dogs assist with mobility and independence?
Yes, love this question. If I distill it into one sentence, what I like to say is the cane is an object locator and the dog is an object avoider. Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
as you're looking at guide dog mobility, and if it's right for you, know that you're going to be getting less of that haptic information coming in. And the other thing is understanding that it's a relationship with the dog. You don't get to say, "Hey, take me to the coffee shop on 3rd and Main," and then you mentally check out while your dog Ubers you
Right.
there. It's understanding that the handler is the pilot. They're ultimately responsible for the decisions that are being made. And the handler is the navigator as well. So they need to know where you're going, what the intersections look like, what the traffic controls look like, approximately where in the block that you need to turn to find your door. And then I say that the role of the dog is the safety navigator. So the dog is there to help you along that journey and help you to get there safely.
Dude. I'm still thinking about now that the haptics that you're talking about, because you do not have any tactile anything.
Very little.
I'm a cane user, you know what I mean? So I'm just it freaks me out a little bit. But
it can be a really difficult transition, and you have to understand. And I'm not here to tell everybody that a guide dog is great, perfect for everyone.
Sure.
But just understanding, okay, you're going to have less of that information. You're going to get the haptic proprioception that comes through the feet and your footfalls, but you're losing all of the tactile from the cane coming through the hand, and you're losing the tactiles of things that you might encounter during the course of a block or a walk. The dog will take you curb to curb pretty much without contact with anything. And is that exciting or is that scary? And that's your choice.
Right. Exactly. So I was recently at a conference and I made a friend there and I know Emmy, but she has a guide dog. And this girl was smoking me. I mean, she was she's like, well, I forgot what it's, Vista was its name. Vista, find the bathroom. Vista took her to the bathroom. And I walk very fast, too fast for my own good. And I'm like, dude, it was crazy. So I just, how does that happen? Like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah. So I think that's a little bit related to what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
Like without all of that extra information, you can move a little bit more fluidly typically.
Sure.
And when I work with people and we're just getting started, even before you get the dog, I'm going to take you for a walk with an empty harness just to get a feel for like what is a comfortable walking pace without using the cane, right? If you were to follow a dog. But it's a lot of people who use dogs. One of the things they appreciate is that they can typically walk a little bit quicker than their normal pace without the dog.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So, what makes a guide dog different from other service animals?
So I will come in with a caveat that I've only ever been a guide dog trainer,
Right.
but I've worked in an organization where we train both, and I have friends who are in both camps. So with that caveat, I will say one of the primary differences is most service dog training is a stimulus response. So I cue the dog, hey, pull me in the wheelchair, and the dog pulls. Hey, go into the room and turn the light switch on, and the dog does that. Hey, here's my credit card. Put your feet on the counter and hand it to the clerk. That kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
With
That's awesome.
guide dogs, it's amazing. The things that dogs can do for us are incredible.
Yeah.
With guide dogs, they need to make more independent decisions, right? And sometimes contrary to their handler. So, for example, if somebody has a little bit of a left tendency, they can be cueing their dog to go to the left, and the dog actually has to learn how to counter that and push you right. Or if you're a little bit misaligned for a street crossing and you're going
And you
a
veer.
little bit, you veer exactly. That dog's trained to counter you or to fight you. Like, hey, nope, we got to come this way.
Yeah.
So they're trained to do that. And then we train something that we call intelligent disobedience, which is if you give a dog a cue and the dog deems it to be unsafe, they're taught to override you. So the easiest explanation that we do is we train the dogs how to react when they see a vehicle as a threat, right? Mm-hmm. So if I cue the dog to initiate a street crossing and the dog sees a vehicle and says, no, that vehicle is a threat to us, the dog's trained to refuse the cue and stand there and wait.
So it's really a big sense of trust that you're building.
Huge.
Wow.
Huge trust. Huge
Oh my
trust.
God.
You're giving up some of that control to the dog.
Yeah.
And there's a big learning curve. Most clients will say it's typically 6 to 12 months before they really feel like they're one unit with their dog.
Can you share a story that illustrates the life-changing impact of a guide dog?
I could probably fill the rest of the day with those stories.
I bet you could.
And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
But I had one fairly recently, and I trained her with the dog, and we did a 3/4 of a mile route, and we sat for 15 minutes halfway through to catch our breath. I went to visit her 6 months later, and she described the route that we were going to be doing on our aftercare visit. And I thought, wow, that's really long.
Yeah.
And we cooked through this route. And at one point, she stopped to catch her breath for about 10 seconds on a corner. And I said, I have to say, like, your fitness is significantly improved. And she kind of smiles and says, I know, and I've lost a few pounds too.
Ah,
right?
man.
And so it's the holistic impact of that dog, her mobility. She's finding it's easier to travel and navigate in the environment with the dog, but having that dog to motivate her to get up and get out every day, having that dog needing to get out and walk caused her to get out and walk more. Now she's feeling better. Now she's healthier. Now she's lost some weight. Like
That's awesome.
Yeah, the whole life impact that having that guide dog lifestyle has had on her has been, it's life changing.
Yeah, because you can't be lazy. Like, you got to get up.
That dog needs to walk.
He needs to walk every day.
Yeah, doesn't care if you're not feeling it. Doesn't care if it's a little rainy out.
Yep,
so
exactly.
And again, that's a consideration if you're thinking about a guide dog. How do you feel about that?
Right. Exactly. Okay. So let's talk about client guide dog partnership. Mm-hmm. So how do you match dogs with their clients?
Well, sometimes I say 2 shots of tequila and a dartboard, but it's not really true. So we've been working with these dogs. The formal training is a 19-week program. So we've been working these dogs 2-3 routes a day for 19 weeks. We know them well. We understand what their natural working pace is, like how they handle different environments, what they need if they're distracted or unfocused, right? So then we start to compare that with our wait list of clients and say, okay, who aligns, right? This dog and this client, do they align on pace? Do they align on environment that they live in? and really take a lot of time to look at, to make sure that we're making as good a match as possible. And it's a little bit art and a little bit science and a little bit just experience, but it's one of the things that I really pride myself on.
Yeah.
And then when we think we have a match, we will let that particular client know. We will meet them wherever they are, and we'll do a trial walk. So you get to take a test drive, try it before you buy it.
Right. Exactly.
So you get to walk the dog, and that makes the client a part of a process, which I think is really important. They have buy-in, they have say, and that's all of those things come together to help us figure out exactly how we make the best match we can.
Yeah. So do you like when I know they go out to to facilities like say in Oregon or here in Texas or wherever and get and get trained. So do you match the dog with the person before they go, or is it matched when they're there? So
the way we do, different schools do different things. The way we do it is we will come to you. We will take a test drive, see how you like the dog. If you like the fit and if we like the fit, then we will schedule that client training.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
And for Guide Dogs of Texas, all of our training right now is done in your home. So we'll send an instructor to wherever you are. We'll stay in a hotel nearby.
That's awesome.
And then train you in your home. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no camp.
There's no camp.
Whatever.
We do have a facility. We're making some renovations to it, so eventually we will get to a point where we do have a camp. But one of the things that's important to me is understanding what the client's needs are, and if you want that camp, that dormitory style training, we'll do that with you. If you don't, we had a woman who the thought of living with a couple of strangers in a strange place was mildly terrifying. Yeah. So no worries, we'll train you completely in home.
Yeah.
And my favorite model is we bring you in for a week or two, do all the fundamental training at our site. So by being away from your environment, you can super focus on the dog, and we cook and clean, and that's not so bad. Yeah. I'm a pretty good cook.
Nice.
And then we go home with you, and then we go, okay, what's unique and interesting? Like everybody's HEB parking lot is different, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll teach you how to navigate the very individual pieces of your environment.
Find the brisket queso. It's the HEB.
It's the best.
Sorry. Shameless plug for HEB. Okay, so
who, by the way, has been a wonderful sponsor of Guide Dogs of Texas.
Oh, yeah?
They really have been a great supporter.
Oh, well, that's very cool. So we will shamefully plug them or whatever it is.
Shamelessly
plug them.
Shame.
No shame.
Zero shame.
No shame. Yes, props to HEB. That's very awesome.
They're wonderful to us.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so what kind of training do the clients receive when they work with the guide dogs?
So the clients will get that initial pre-match done, and if that works, then we block 2 weeks of time out, right? So we'll come and we'll train you in your home environment. The first week is really focusing on fundamentals. These are the transferable skills. So how to make a left turn, how to make a right turn, how to follow your dog as it navigates around things, how to do street crossings, how to manage your dog when they get distracted, because they're still dogs. They're wonderfully bred and raised and trained, and sometimes they still get distracted by the squirrel. So we teach you how to manage those situations as well. Yeah. And then kind of the second half of that training is, okay, what are the unique routes that you do, or what are the individual components of your lifestyle? And we work with you and your dog on that. That client training is flexible. If people want or need a little bit more time, we will accommodate that. We've got that built into our timetable. And so it's a work with the client to see where they're at and what their needs are, and we meet them there.
That's awesome. Just kind of tailor it to what the client
is. Yeah, it's very individualized.
That's very cool.
Because we're all unique.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How do you ensure long-term success and safety for both?
That's a great question. And I think one of the things that really helps set Guide Dogs of Texas apart is that we don't hand you a dog and say, here's your client training. Okay, good luck. Call us in 8 years. We need another dog.
Yeah, really?
We do a follow-up a month later, a follow-up 3 months later, 6 months later, and then every year thereafter. So we really do a lot of aftercare to make sure that we're finding little problems while they're little problems, helping you navigate whatever it is that you need to navigate. And then inevitably, right, we do our visit, and great, you're good for another year, and in 2 months something weird happens, or they completely demolish your intersection, and you call, hey, I need help. We'll make sure to get somebody out there. Usually Lawrence will be at your door within 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we really endeavor. At our core, we are a client services organization. Like the clients Jay is why I do this, right? So
yeah.
making sure the clients are getting the best service that I can give them is why we're here.
24 hours. That's very cool. And you guys obviously work all over Texas?
We do. We're all over the great state of Texas. Which it's a big state.
It's a big state. Lots bigger than Oregon.
Much bigger than Oregon. Smaller than Australia, though.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's one of the things that helps set us apart is having that more regional model versus a national or international model. Is that we're typically able to be a little bit more flexible and adaptable in the service that we provide.
That's awesome. What does the puppy raising process involve, and then why is it so critical?
It is absolutely critical. So you're taking in this 8-week-old bundle of fluff and fur and joy and puppy breath, and working with our staff, raising this puppy to set it up for the best potential to be a guide dog. So they really, in those moments, need to learn house behaviors and how to be a good citizen out in public. And those puppy raisers really get the dogs used to going anywhere, seeing anything, so that when they come in for formal training, we don't have to work on that socialization piece. They're ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we have a really strong puppy raising contingency here in Houston and in Katy as well. So any local Houston listeners, if you might be interested in raising a puppy, reach out and we'll be happy to chat. We always need more.
Oh, that's awesome! I can think of a few people that would love that.
All right, let's call them.
Right, my mom probably.
How you doing, Mom?
Hi, Mom. Anyway, all right. Well, cool. So let's talk about Guide Dogs of Texas specifically, because I want to kind of get into your organization.
Yeah.
So what sets Guide Dogs of Texas apart from other programs?
Yeah, a couple of the things that sets us apart would why you choose us is we do have that regional model, so that when you graduate, if you need care, we're much more accessible and easier to get somebody out to help you. The dogs are born and bred and raised in Texas, so they're used to this environment, right? It can be hard sometimes for a dog to go from one environment to completely a different one,
right?
And we don't have that issue with ours.
Because of snow and all that kind of other stuff. Wow.
Sure, and different allergens and pollens can have an effect. Yeah, and then the other thing that I mentioned before too is we try to be as absolutely flexible as possible with clients in terms of, do you need in-home training? Do we need to work around your job? Do you want to come to us? Whatever it is that you need as a client, we really work to try to accommodate everything we can for you. It's not this is our model, you choose to fit it or you don't. It's like, what's going on with your life, and how do we work with you with that? Yeah.
What does meeting client needs truly look like in your work?
So it's a couple of the things that I've touched on. I think it's getting to know each individual as a person. Like, what are your needs? Your needs are different than everybody else's needs, right? So it's understanding what you need and are looking for in a dog, and then making sure that we meet that as best we can. And it's providing that extra level of client services in terms of the frequency of aftercares after you graduate, and the availability of staff. Yeah. It's just that what I tell my staff is the client needs to be at the end of every single decision you make. And so if one of my staff says, I think we should do A, B, or C, I will ask them, how does that benefit a client? And sometimes it's really simple. Like if it's a training technology that's going to make the dogs better at the job, that's a pretty easy. But even something like, by increasing housekeeping in our building, people can not worry about having to keep the kitchen clean and focus more on the fundraising that we need, or the dog training, or that kind of thing.
Right.
So.
All right, this is a good one here. So how can people get involved? So whether it's through volunteering or donating or even raising the puppies.
So lots of opportunities to get involved, and that is my favorite question.
Yay!
Lots of ways to get involved. There's a ton of different volunteer opportunities. Our facility is based in San Antonio. So if you're in Houston, it's a lot of doing some puppy raising. You can be doing some outreach for us and events, or puppy sitting. Even if you can't take a puppy full-time in the home, a puppy raiser might travel for a week and need somebody to puppy sit.
That's cool.
Yeah, so different opportunities there. Funding, I always like to talk about. We are a charitable nonprofit. We receive exactly zero government funding. Everything we do is private philanthropic. So from one-off donations from individuals to We have a sustaining donor program where people sign up for recurring donations. You can look at tax benefiting donations to help you at the end of the year, or leaving us in a will or bequest. Lots of different options to financially support if you're able. Because what we do is expensive, and we charge nothing to our clients to receive the dog, the training, the equipment, and the follow-up. And so we're really dependent on those donor dollars to keep going.
Yeah, this is a very good thing, guys. So if all y'all out there in TV land, please think about donating to these guys, because they do great work, man.
$20 a month on a recurring donation, you hardly feel it, and yet it really adds up for us. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's talk about looking ahead. So what are your future goals for the Guide Dogs of Texas?
So my future goals are what I like to say, sustainable growth. So we have our wait list right now is typically 2 years or more, and that's not acceptable to any of us. So there's a really high demand. So really focusing on building our breeding program, building that puppy raising program, but making sure that we're doing all of that sustainably, right? I don't want to grow so fast that I'm spending more than I'm bringing in, because I want this organization to outlive me.
Absolutely.
So it's really looking at how do we put the right pieces and the right people in place so that we can continue to expand our programs and expand our services and be able to serve more people who are in need of a guide dog. And then always looking at, I'm a student of CQI, continuous quality improvement model. So looking at how do we train the dogs better? How do we train the clients better? How do we provide better service? So it's really making sure that we stay open-minded and look at anything that can help us do our jobs better. Now, that's been one of the advantages of living in different countries and working for different organizations, is seeing what's worked for different folks. And it's really helped me to be better at keeping a very open mind in terms of how do we make this a better organization.
Absolutely. How do you envision the evolution of guide dog services in the next decade?
That is a great question. So there's a lot of components that affect that. So first and foremost is the AI and robotic technology, right?
Yeah.
Because there's the potential in the maybe not so distant future of robotic guide dogs, right, that could do the job. So I think we have to consider that. We have to consider that we have a population that is aging. So our expected incidence of blindness is expected to double in the next few decades. And so it's looking at, okay, what are these folks going to need? How do we prepare for that world? And then it's looking at the technologies that can help us do better. How do we teach our clients better? How do we train our dogs better? How do we fundraise better? It's just staying innovative and staying creative and be willing to try new things. But I love the robot dog conversation. I love asking instructors how long before we're obsolete.
Right.
It's a fun argument.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in my lifetime. Maybe I'm arrogant.
Right.
Because the dog provides more than just mobility. But it actually makes me really happy, because the more types of technology or opportunities for mobility that we have, clients can have more of what they're after, right? Yeah. It's not used to be just a cane.
Right.
And then, okay, you choose a cane and a dog. Well, now we've got some robot dogs or some wearable technologies. Like, all of these different things are giving people who are blind more opportunity to live life exactly how they want to, and I'm all for that.
All right, Pat, so as we wrap up today's episode, do you have any final thoughts or advice for someone who is blind or low vision and considering a guide dog for the first time?
Yes, I do. Thank you. It's important to have a whole picture and understanding of what the guide dogs do, for better or for worse. So my primary suggestion is to talk to folks who have dog guides and ask them, what do you love? What don't you love? And consider how their answers affect your life, right? So is the good stuff great for you? Is the bad stuff too much of a deal breaker? Do you want to have a dog to be responsible for and to take care of and that needs to get out every day? So it's really about educating yourself, talk to different schools and organizations, see what they have to offer, and just educate yourself as best you can, because it's a big decision. It's a dog is going to be 7 or 8 years, and it changes the way that you navigate. So go into it with the eyes as wide open as you can.
Pat, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey and expertise with us today. I've learned a lot. This has been an excellent conversation. I'm so glad you were here.
Appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. Your dedication to improving lives through the guide dog mobility is awesome. This has been this is very, very good conversation today. To our listeners, that we hope that Pat's story encourages you to explore new paths, advocate for accessibility, and support organizations like Guide Dogs of Texas because they need the support. So go out and donate, guys.
That's it. GuideDogsOfTexas.org is our website.
Thank you.
And we're on all the socials.
There you go, GuideDogsOfTexas.org. So you guys can find other episodes of Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential wherever you get your podcasts or on our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on social media for updates and visit our website at HoustonLighthouse.org for all the fun stuff that we're up to. So keep in touch with us. Until next time, this is Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential. Stay bold, stay curious, and continue to break those barriers.